When a study linked hormone replacement therapy to breast cancer in 2002, women around the world ditched the treatment in droves. Although the validity of that research has since been questioned, HRT's image has never fully recovered. Many doctors remain reluctant to prescribe it, and there have been a number of studies since linking the treatment to various types of cancers. But one practitioner who's determined to see HRT revived is the founder of WA's first menopause clinic. And she believes that for many women, the benefits outweigh the risks. Claire Moody reports on the doctor who's become known as Mrs. Menopause.
It's another busy day at the clinic for Margaret Smith.
Good morning, Judy. How are you today?
After 30 years in the business, this veteran gynaecologist is still in high demand.
Some of them are so desperate, you know, if whatever I told them, they would do it.
Well, I didn't know what was wrong with me. You know, I thought I was losing my marbles.
I was angry. I didn't know why I get so angry all the time. I wanted to cry.
Specialising in the menopause, Dr Smith has become a saviour to many women of a certain age.
The panic was pretty intense. The inability to think clearly.
And a saviour for their partners too.
You can always predict with your partner what's going to upset them, all right? But once she kicked into this menopause, I didn't know when she was going to blow up over something.
But it's these classic symptoms of menopause that Margaret Smith believes too many women today are enduring without adequate treatment.
I'm afraid we have gone backwards. When I first started the menopause work here at King Edward in 1978, nothing was then available, and women just had to put up and shut up, as they say. But once we opened up the clinic and women started to come, the relief of their hot flushes, the fact that sex wasn't so painful, was so miraculous that everybody wanted to go on it.
It was HRT, hormone replacement therapy, which became known as a panacea for women struggling with the change.
Women were made to feel that when they turned 40, they were going to be estrogen depleted and they needed to go and get HRT in order to stay young and youthful and functional and to stave off all the nasty things that were going to happen in menopause.
But it all came to an abrupt halt with the release of an American study in 2002.
It found that out of every 10,000 women taking the combined estrogen and progestin HRT, 8 more than average would develop breast cancer, 7 more would have heart attacks.
And this information does not mean that you're going to get breast cancer.
Absolutely no need to panic, no need to throw the tablets down the toilet or throw them at your doctor, as some people might wish to do.
6 out of 10 women weren't convinced, taking themselves off the treatment. And 8 years later, Margaret Smith says Australia's still in an anti-HRT era.
They're not getting the other side of the story. The positive effects are not in headlines in the papers. I mean, most HRT stuff gets page 3 on the right-hand side where they see it as soon as they open up, the negative stuff.
She's spent the last few years trying to set the record straight, even publishing a book on the pros and cons of HRT. Margaret Smith says the US research tested the wrong women at the wrong age. Most were in their mid-60s.
Women back at 50, just starting menopause, who are not smokers, who are not overweight, not having high cholesterol or anything, perfectly safe to give them hormones.
And she's not alone. Other experts are also concerned that many women are missing out on what they call the safe window of opportunity.
Some doctors can be very defensive about it, and sure, it keeps them out of trouble, but it doesn't always help the patient.
But not everyone's unhappy. Prominent Perth GP Rosanna Capelinga says there are alternatives to HRT, and she welcomes the balance in today's debate.
You almost felt as though if you weren't part of the HRT club that you were missing out and you were going to allow yourself to become a wrinkled prune. Now we've got the ability to have the discussion, the controversies about HRT and its relative risk in individuals. The myths that have been busted about the benefits of HRT and heart disease, has allowed women to come in and talk to their doctor and feel that they can have a right to choose not to have HRT.
The controversy surrounding hormone therapy is reflected in pharmacies, where there are now far fewer brands to choose from and only patches remain on the pharmaceutical benefits scheme.
From the original US creative team, Australia welcomes the international sensation Menopause the Musical.
What most experts seem to welcome is that menopause is no longer a taboo subject and that women have the right to choose what treatment, if any, they prefer.
Menopause itself is a natural process. It's how we are meant to be. So if we want to be natural, then this is it, I'm afraid, such as it is.
For Margaret Smith's patients, at least, they've weighed up the risks and the benefits and have opted for HRT.
I'm calmer in myself, sleeping better, certainly not panicky, and I think more, although you wouldn't think so with this interview, but my thoughts are clearer.
For me, it was the mood swings. They just stopped. Raina came back to being the woman I've married, the woman I love.
Dr Smith aims to retire in 2 years, just in time for her 80th birthday. Before then, she's got a second book to publish and a message to get across based on 3 decades of personal experience.
In fact, I think it would be safe to take practically forever. I'm going to take mine forever. The last thing they do when they put me in the coffin is take my patch off.